You guys, I'm so excited. Darlene Pearks is here with us on the podcast today, and we're talking about, again, stepping away from business with grief. So thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we organized this quite well because it's a Wednesday in the States and it's Thursday in Australia.
In New Zealand.
New Zealand, okay.
Which is not Australia.
Right. Whoops. No, I love
okay.
talking to people on the other side of the world. It's so fun. So you had reached out to me not too long ago with a message, and it's like really stuck with me because it really resonated with me. And you were saying, did I have any advice for you, coming back to your business? So can you share with the listeners, what happened for you to step away?
Yes, so in my business, I was doing Reiki, massage, and intuitive guidance, and my husband got sick with cancer. He got quite a nasty cancer called cholangiocarcinoma, and he was sick quite quickly. So he was well, and then he was not well, and then he needed a huge surgery that took 10 hours, and he needed care before the surgery because it took a while to get there. So I basically was not even able to work in my business and had to cancel everything. So he went on this cancer journey, and then he had his operation and he had some chemo, and then he was declared well. Unfortunately, in June last year, he had a reoccurrence, and it had come back to a place which wasn't really they weren't able to do anything with it. So we went down a huge path of fundraising and used immunotherapy, and so that takes up so much energy. And so once again, I was trying to do the business, but not. And I had to just stop doing that. And then my husband got really sick, and then he died in January this year. And I live in a 3-bedroom house with 3 children. They're aged from 10 to 16. And I was working out of my room, which is off the garage, which is called Darlene's Relax Room. And after James died, my oldest son announced that he would like to live in there. And I couldn't even see myself going back to work. So I gave him my room. So fast forward a few months, I was starting to feel like I wanted to work, and I didn't actually have a space now. So it was a real opportunity for me to redesign what I do. I'd been playing around with tarot for many, many, many years, and had in February started doing an official tarot course, if you like, where I was studying it really intensely. And somehow, somewhere along the way, Darlene the intuitive seer was birthed, and next minute I'm giving readings to people online, and I now hire a room in town 1 day a week, which is today, where I go and see clients in person as well. But stepping back into my business was confusing because I felt so low a lot of the time. But when I was reading with clients, I didn't feel low, and it was like a holiday, and I could really feel James's presence with me. And I call him my business manager because he brings opportunities like this to me that never happened to me in the past. And I've been invited to go and help it on a retreat and take up some space on a retreat. There's lots of things that have sort of started to happen that I know is my husband helping me. And James and we'd been together since we were 16, so we knew each other really, really, really well. And so we've got quite a good humour, and we had a very lovely relationship. And I just know some of the messages he's sending me, it's just from him. I could share one with you, which is actually probably...
Yes, share one with us. That's what I think the listeners will love that.
I now have a pigeon tattoo on my arm, and the reason is my husband and me had this pigeon joke, and it was just an internal joke that started back in 2000, and we just always joked about pigeons and that they were a spirit animal and all of this. And not long after James died, this lady came to my house who I didn't know that well, and she was just giving us a meal, and I also make candles as well. And she said, I've got a whole lot of jars that thought you might be interested in having for your candles. But the box has been in my carport and it's wet, so just be careful when you're holding it. So I carried this box inside, and when I opened it, there was a dead pigeon in it, upside down, with its legs shooting out, and I just started laughing because I made the connection straight away. Like, I was like, that is
I
just so
love
funny.
that. So like, that's your validation now. So maybe whenever you ask a question, you know, he'll be like, here's a pigeon.
Yes, like pigeons. I've never seen so many pigeons in my whole entire life. Pigeons have been on my back lawn when I've had builders here and I've not been sure if they're trustworthy, and 4 pigeons flew down and started eating something off the grass. And we don't have pigeons in our backyard. We have tuis, which is like a native bird in New Zealand. So I've been getting, and when I was getting my tattoo, I was driving out to the lady who was doing it, and I was like, oh, should I really be getting a tattoo? Like, you know, they say don't make any sudden decisions. And there was a branch over the road, and this pigeon came, this big wood pigeon came and just landed on the branch as I drove under it. So he's just there the whole time.
And this stuff up, you know, I think it's so amazing. I have a couple things I want to add or share with is, you know, a lot of people don't realize how much their loved ones really do help them. But also when we're talking about now that, like you said, he's your business guide, right? Well, you've opened space for him to be able to do that. So you're actually opened up and you're actually looking for the signs, and these opportunities are coming your way, and you're acknowledging, thank you, right? So it's like he's your guide. So like anybody that's lost their loved one, like literally, I'm just thinking, well, where have you been, Phil?
He's probably been dropping crumbs, and you're just like walking along and not even noticing. He's
so
like,
he usually talks to me through songs, which is interesting because I've never had any other past loved one at all put songs in my head, but it'll just be like a little, like 4 words or something, and then I'll recognize this song, so then I'll go look it up. But then I listen to the song, and it's literally word for freaking word what he's wanting to say, and I'm like blown away. But on the other part, it's like, yeah, okay, so we can invite guides, right? I talk about this when I'm talking about meeting spirit guides, is you can also ask for specialty guides, like specifically on what it is that you're wanting. You probably already have them, you know, but when you're opening space, like, I really want to know more about law of attraction, so I want Abraham Hicks, I want them to be my guide too. They can't just be all Esther's, you know.
Yeah. So come on, share.
Like, right, share. So I think that's freaking awesome. The signs that you're getting, the pigeons,
amazing. And he really supported me with everything I believed when he was alive. And he said to me, he used to say to me, I really believe that you really believe what you believe, and I really want to believe it, but he couldn't quite get there. Yeah. And when he actually passed away and we were laying his body out and we surrounded him with crystals, of course you do when you are me, I pulled him an angel card, and the angel card he got was healing energy, and it was the Kyle Gray card. And basically what it means is that you're more than a physical body. And by that point, even my non-believing sister was like, you know, you can't make this stuff up. It's just, we just kept on having things happen the whole way through. And he's made hairdryers go off. My friend said that she was cleaning a house and she was like, how can I help Darlene? Like, what can I do to help Darlene? And she just kept on having this thought in her head, like, I really want to help her. Should I make her meals? And I've got a daughter who's 13 and she's got a daughter who's 14. And she's like, oh, well, Anika plays netball and Georgia plays netball. Maybe Anika could help Georgia with her netball. And the hairdryer went on. She wasn't even near it. She was like overdoing something else. And this person's house, and the hairdryer just randomly turned on. So he seems to be really good with the electrical thing, so he can make lights flicker, and the kids think it's hilarious, and they're like, Dad, like, stop it. But he does seem to have some form of ability on that side, which is quite fascinating for someone who's not long gone.
So different past loved ones they're different, right? So he can do the lights. I like that. And then like with my guy with the songs. Right?
Yeah. I think they must have a
something
strength.
else I noticed that my guy would do and has done is like like fiber optics, like the color, like all the color or whatever. If
Mm.
I go out for a walk and I feel him, and I look, and then I could see like he's lights up the whole tree,
Yeah.
or even like a butterfly thinking of him. And then there was
Yeah.
one time I heard him, because I was like, is that you? you know
Yeah.
and he said, I'm the butterfly and the wind that carries the butterfly and the sun that's
Oh,
shining on the butterfly. And I was like,
wow.
ooh, goosey puppy. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I'm all the
All
things,
things. Yeah.
and what major validation bumps right there, right? I am all the
Yeah.
things. You're just
That's
now
right.
recognize me as this butterfly today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's amazing how they do. I was sitting out on the deck with a friend and I was saying to her how I think he's the tui in the tree, because the tui's always in the tree, but for some reason the last few months when I go outside, the tui decides to fly to the tree, but flies really close to my head, and I'm like, whoa, like what's going on? And I was telling my friend this, and the tui flew straight past her and went to the tree, and she was like, oh my god, is that like on cue? And I was like, yeah, he likes to do things a bit dramatic because he thinks butterflies are a bit meh. And without a word of a lie, this butterfly flutters in front of us, and we're just like, holy hell, like what is going on?
I love it. One of my things is that I know my past loved ones are like the hummingbirds.
Oh yeah,
So I would
we
have
don't
like
have
three
those
of them, and
here.
I'm like, oh yeah, okay, husband, mom, grandma. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Yeah, and
I recognize
threes.
you guys, or I see you guys. So that's freaking cool that he
Yeah.
does need stuff like that. And listeners, you guys can ask them for signs. You could
Mm,
ask for specific stuff and see if it happens. It's pretty
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I had somebody tell me, I was getting my teeth cleaned once. This was a few years ago. And I'm like, oh shit, her mom in spirit is here. Like, right. And I'm like, oh, don't want to say nothing. But I was like, something about her mom. And she was like, my mom was a funny lady. And then I'm like, okay, she's in spirit, right? So I'm like, well, what's really strange is I feel like she's behind you, because you never know if people are going to be open to it. She's like, is she?
Yeah.
And they'll stand behind, and then they showed me their clothes for some
Yeah.
reason. That's just how it works for me. I'm like, she is wearing her pants so high up. What is going on? And the lady starts laughing. She's like, oh my God, describe her to a T. But this is the most, I think, physical, profound sign that somebody has told me about is they had a joke with oh my gosh, Johnny Depp, and he's the pirate. What's the name of that? Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They loved Johnny Depp, right? And that movie. So she woke up, the living lady, and there were stickers all over her from Johnny Depp. And I was like, what? Like
How did
physical
that happen?
stickers? She's like, she's like, I don't know. I'm like, some of these, past loved ones, they're freaking powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, we found a feather in our visor in the car, and we still to this day don't know how it got there.
Yeah.
Like, the sun visor,
Yeah.
Georgia put it down, and this feather, like a
Uh-huh.
bird feather, just fell out. We're like,
Yep.
and we asked everyone who put the feather in the visor, because we're like,
Yeah. You want to,
you can have
try to
signs,
figure
but
it
I mean,
out.
who put the feather in the visor? So
Yeah.
we've got no idea how it got there.
You logically want to find it out. Well, now that he's on the other side, he really does believe what you believe,
Well,
right?
that's funny you say that, because it's one of the first things I thought, probably within the first 2 hours of his death. I was like, and now he knows. Like, now he knows. And then I said to my sister, and also now he knows I'm right, which is even more important, being right.
I think that's so sweet that you keep that humor, and because it's like you
Mm,
have a choice, right? You're still living. He's just not
yeah.
there, but you're still joking with him and stuff.
Mm,
I think that's hilarious. Me
yeah, we're
and my guy, we
keeping the
joke all the time too.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just a sign of a really easy relationship, where you get each other and you know what's going to be seen as funny, and
Yeah.
the
So
connection.
do you have advice for the listeners if they are having a death on stepping away from their business, or did you just do that because you had to? Or, and here's a third question, is did you make a conscious effort to keep taking time off after he passed away?
I didn't go back to work until I went back to work, so I didn't try to go back to work, and I I just didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't have any space to work in. And I was like, I can't go back and do what I was doing because I'm a different person now. So there was the element of needing to relaunch my business. So when he got sick, I was doing massage, Reiki, and intuitive guidance, and I stopped doing massage within 6 months because I just, for some reason, it was just like, no more massage. That's done. We're not doing that anymore. And when he died, it's a no for Reiki at the moment, but it's not a no forever. It's you just need that energy for yourself. But reading, when I'm doing card readings, I don't use any energy. It's coming through me, and it's like a holiday, to be honest. I don't have to think. I'm not aware he's not here. I'm not aware of anything in my personal life. I'm just with the client and what's going on for them, and I'm just in their information. And and it is really lovely.
Yeah, for me coming back and getting into the spirit work again, that's really, like you said, just you get high on spirit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're there, you're holding space for your client, and it's like you are a channel, right? But it makes you, it brings so much energy into you,
And
you know what I mean,
that's right.
doing it. But yeah, you feel so elevated afterwards, and it
Yes,
just makes
that's
me
it.
more
I
excited
just
to like
don't know how people
more.
go back to boring not boring jobs. I mean, I'm sorry if you're an accountant or something, but I've got a friend, and unfortunately her daughter died, and they're accountants, and I just said, I don't know how, I don't know how you could without grief, but I don't know how you can focus on things like that. And they are struggling. I think it's really important to go to find work that's actually going to soothe you, or it's actually going to help you. You don't, when you're in deep grief, you don't want to be doing things that is going to take away from you, because you're pretty much depleted as it is, and you needing to find ways to fill yourself up and to heal yourself. So my advice would be, make sure whatever it is that you're doing, that it's giving you something.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a lot of people turn to the spiritual awakening when they lose someone, and then they want to just know more, like, where did my loved one go? And if they could dive into something like that, they're going to find so much more fulfillment within themselves. And I believe you're right. There was no way because I was doing business coaching. I mean, I'm always been my spiritual awakening, and I have my awaken program. I've always had that, but I was really deep into business coaching and supporting these women and helping them grow their businesses at that time. There was no way in hell I was going to be able to support these women building their businesses when I'm laying on the freaking floor, just.
It floors you.
Yeah.
And I had the 3
literally.
kids as well, so they were, they fill your life up. They've got stuff going on, and they're either
No
doing this
doubt.
or
I mean, my
and
daughter's
it's
grown up. I couldn't imagine having to still be the foundation for my family unit.
And it's interesting because my friend, she's a 5-year widow and she's got no children. And she said to me, I don't know how you're doing it. And I said, I don't know how you did it. Like, how on earth did you get out of bed? I didn't get out of bed because these bloody monsters make me. Like, there's stuff that just has to happen. They have to get to school or whatever. So they've been a blessing in the sense for me. But I'm just so glad that they weren't any younger, because I don't think I could have handled that, because they're old enough to sort of be independent.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how exciting. So where can, so you do your readings online too, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Online.
Where can people find you?
Darlene, DARLENE.co.nz.
.co.nz.
NZ.
Okay.
NZ. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing mostly then, is the card readings?
Yep. And I make candles, crystal bracelets, and body scrubs, which I will be selling at the markets. We're the opposite season to you. So we're in winter coming into spring. And so when October comes, the markets will be coming back up. So I'll be going to the craft markets on Saturday. And then I was thinking this morning, will I be doing any readings at my stall? So let's see what happens. I'll just follow my intuition and see. I like to follow the joy. So just follow the joy. I feel like I was in the corporate world in my 20s. I'm 48 now, but in my 20s, I worked in the corporate world before I had children. And I feel like I've done a job that's pretty joyless and, takes a lot out of you. That I did that and I don't want to do that again. So I like to make it fun.
I love that you're doing that. Spirit supports you, girl. Let me just say,
thank you.
Right? It's, sometimes we can't see that invisible space before us, you know what I mean? And you could have thoughts like that. Don't have thoughts like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Go to corporate. But I was like you. I worked in commercial real estate for over 15 years in corporate.
Wow.
And
you would have been great too.
What?
And you would have been great at it too.
I was pretty darn good. I was in charge of all the money, all the collecting all the commissions and supporting the brokers and all the marketing. Oh.
Yeah.
I love marketing. So here I am, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was doing the marketing, but it was very joyless. And
Yes.
I got to the point where I had started having health problems and I took a leave of absence and ended up, long story, moved to Michigan and had this whole crazy spiritual awakening. And I was like, oh no, we're staying in this realm. Yeah. So then I was doing
this is way more fun.
Reiki readings. And then I started teaching and then I started
Isn't
coaching.
that interesting?
And then I
It's a
started
similar
coaching
path.
business owners. And it's like, yes, it's fun. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
That's amazing. Like it's such a similar path to mine. My awakening was my oldest child when I got pregnant with Xavier. Like from the moment I turned from corporate, I'll get the flu jab, I'll work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, to hippie. Like everyone was going, what's she up to? I just turned into this, like that's the only way to describe it. I just did a 360.
Yeah. That was me too. Right. And because I moved out of the city into the very rural across the country. And it was so beautiful. I'm sure that the nature had a big part of, awakening me, but like, I love that you're following the joy. And, that I think that's important for everybody listening too. It's like, we're both like coming back. Like I've been back. It's just relaunching it almost like starting.
It's rediscovering, isn't it? Almost
rediscovering it. But following the freaking joy. Right. Because I mean, there are thoughts where it's like, oh, well, it's going a little slow. Should I even look at a job?
Yeah.
Hell no. The spirit world is like, are you crazy, Brandalee? We've been supporting you. We're supporting you. Keep going. It's really about believing. It's really all about believing and just getting up and feeling that belief and taking action on that belief. And everybody starts stirring around and following
and using all the resources. Like I'm studying astrology at the moment. I'm a studier. That's just what I do. But I've since learned it's in my chart. So that gives me permission. And I think if we can understand ourselves on a deeper level, then we don't have to put ourselves in situations where we don't thrive.
Thank you for saying that. If we can understand ourselves at a deeper level, then you're not going to put yourself in a position where you're not going to thrive. Everybody repeat that over. And how we do that is we really go within, and I will forever, ever talk about my Awaken program. Probably people get so tired of it, but that is
so important.
At least my way from, the spirit world, for me to help people have that transformation to get to know themselves on the super deeper level. Because then your whole freaking life changes.
Yeah.
We're
on to something.
We are.
Yeah. Share it. Tell everyone. It's happening.
I love it. Exciting. All right, my dear. I thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I've loved this.
Everybody go nice to be run, with you. Don't walk, go find her. And get a reading. Get one of her tarot, right? Tarot reading.
Yeah, and I do use tarot in my spread. I've got my own spread that I call Stargaze, and I use oracle cards with tarot.
Oh, cool. A mixture. I like that. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Sweet. Just softens it a little bit.
Yay.
Brings in a bit of sweetness.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.